You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
The wheel is turning and you can't slow down. You can't let go and you can't hold on. You can't go back and you can't stand still. If the thunder don't get you, then the lightning will.
Hello and welcome back into My Wheelhouse, regular season edition. I'm your host, Sheamus McNamara. I'm joined again, 2 weeks in a row, same panel. Sloan, Uncle Mike, what's going on, guys?
Things are good.
I agree. Before we get to the wheel, we got a couple housekeeping things. Gordon is on the wheel, but if we land on him, I kind of want to more center that conversation about how the Celtics are going to look without him moving forward and how our expectations have changed. So just get out of the way. I really just wanted to give him a big shout out. Hopefully he gets a quick recovery. We're all rooting for him. We really get to examine how how unusually and strong that emotional bond is between the fan and the player, even though you have such a superficial relationship with these people that you don't know at all. So something as horrific and devastating as that happens, it tugs on the heartstrings of all fans, players. You saw players from every sport speaking out.
The wheel right to Gordon and talk about him.
I wanted the wheel is to talk about the team. Right now we can talk about him in terms of the injury. It was really heartwarming to see that video come out for the home opener from him from his hospital bed, just speaking out and really just letting everyone know that he's kind of in the right place mentally, at least outwardly, which is what you need. You need a positive attitude, and he's been given a lot of support across the board. Obviously, we want him to have a quick recovery. We're all behind him. I want him to take the full year off. I don't want him to rush back. Even if he's 100%, I think an extra, I know reps help, but an extra off season will help him a lot. So, I mean, we're thinking of him.
So as you're talking about how a fan perceives it, I think we already talked with Diane off camera a little bit, her son was watching it, what happened. And when you're watching it, what's happened, I'm wondering if it was a common response to everybody that you had two things flash through your mind immediately. One was, oh my God, how is the guy? And at the same time, there goes our season.
Right. It's unusual because
simultaneously you're thinking both things, and it's like, are we selfish to even be thinking that? There go. Where are we now? You know, and that's going through your head at the same time. That, oh my God, what's happening?
Well, it's so unusual because there's
It was somber. It was shock for sure. It was shock going through a lot of people's faces, and both teams.
I did say the words. The season's done. I did say. I mean, that was my media. I didn't feel that way.
I was at work. I was DVRing the game. All of a sudden, my phone was blowing up.
Yeah.
There goes the season. I was like, what happened?
I'm a little more optimistic.
But immediately, I am too. But I mean, I'm talking immediate reaction.
Yeah, I mean the anticipation and excitement leading up to the season, and for that just type of just huge, just boom, like a bomb dropped us within the first 5 minutes. It really is something that you immediately, 1,000 things go through your head, and it was really disappointing for that night. I had to go back and watch both games because I realized I try to take notes when I watch the games, and I didn't take a single note in the Celtics game until halfway through the fourth quarter just because I was in such a trance.
Oh, yeah, I had to get up and I had to take a walk.
Yeah,
I put it on the Celtics radio, even though it was off by about 6 seconds for what was going on in the game, because I really didn't want those guys talking about it. I wanted to hear Maxwell talking about it and hearing the hometown people talk about it and reflect on it. And it was encouraging pretty quickly that especially his composure was amazing. I thought
he was very
he was so stoic and he was so man.
I think he's going to make it through. He seems tough.
And then when you saw him wheeled out at the end, and he gave the thumbs up, and I guess he was there in the locker room when they came in at halftime.
I mean, they relocated his ankle right on the floor.
Yeah. So and the medical attention that these guys get when you're getting paid $128 million, you get the best of the best with you really fast. Yeah. So you got all that.
Send out some good vibes to the training staff too. All right, so we'll move on to a less somber note. We're now calling the segment that we did last week Medal, and this week Mike gets to wear the medal all episode.
I can't believe it because I would have thought I was horrible.
So he got 10 out of 15 games correct. Me and Sloan only got 7.
Wow, so I kicked your butt.
Yeah,
all bets were off after the Hayward injury.
Well, it's pretty funny because your big bet thing was like Dallas is the exciting team, and they went 0-3. But I mean,
that's how this is. It's prognosticating stuff. It's like you're going to make a fool of yourself. There's no doubt about that.
I mean, I'm
used to it.
On Wednesday night,
I don't gamble on any games. I got that out of my system when I was in college.
Right. On Wednesday, you got 4 out of 4 right. So we'll see. I'm sure I'm going to be wearing the medal next week. We'll be. That's how we'll end the episode. That's my graduation medal.
I'm sure I won't be wearing it.
Really?
I got one other thing. Joel Embiid rested other
So I
day.
get to keep it for the week?
Joel Embiid rested, so you get another $1.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm doing good
I was
now.
expecting him to play. He looked great. Okay.
Never,
whatever.
never bet for him playing.
Don't stop those conversations before you. Hey, thank you for the buck.
Hey,
No
we're
problem.
up.
$2 now for.
Yeah, you're winning.
Okay,
all.
looking bad. All right. So
I'm going with Embiid.
looking bad.
I'm sorry. He was like 4 for 14 or 15 against the Celtics. I had Denise watching the game with him, and she keeps going, that guy can't shoot. I'm going, I know he can shoot. I've watched him before. And then he missed another one.
No, he
he
can shoot.
can't shoot, Mike.
Yes, he can.
And I'm going, no, he can't. Believe me, I saw him shoot. And he kept shooting. Where was his low post game? I don't like his
there.
antics. He goes to the foul line. He's calling all of his kingdom down on him.
Yeah, he's exciting. He hypes the
I thought
crowd.
he was relatively slow. I thought he had a really bad game.
I think he has an impact on the floor, and it's so obvious that he's their best player when he's on the floor. And their defense is so much more strengthened when he's on the floor. It's just
Yeah.
he has an immediate effect on the game if he's in the game. Everything that he does is just like the crowd, you can just tell, is just waiting at a drop of a pin for something exciting to happen. You know, the first play of his game against the Wizards, he up-faked Gortat, spun him in a circle, took one dribble, took off from a step inside the free throw line, and almost dunked all over
I
whatchamacallit.
understand all that, but now it's time for some consistency. It's time to play the game real. It's not
We'll get
time
there. I
to just
think
have a
he's still,
highlight
I
here
think
and
he's
there.
still a little rusty. The shot will get there.
I mean,
you know, if you think he stinks at shooting, then why are they
But no, I
covering him 24
I know he
feet
can
out
shoot.
there?
I've
You
seen
know?
him
gets the
shoot.
respect,
I've seen him
yeah.
shoot.
He's up faking at the 3-point line and then taking
Why didn't he
three.
go? Why didn't he post up? Why didn't he try to do it? Instead
does. He
keep shooting
posts-
from the outside.
He posted up a lot in the
He missed a
Washington
lot of
game.
shots.
I mean, yeah, he's going to take a lot of shots. He's averaging like 15 and 14 a game. Like, I'm sorry that's not good enough for you. He's only playing.
That's plenty good enough for me, but I'm sorry that 4 for 15 is good enough for you.
I mean,
And
Not
those
even
couple of them were
big men
late.
don't usually post up anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even a
He's-
post
he's-
up.
No, but he's
shoot.
capable of doing that.
And he does. He is.
And when
He's
you
in the high post.
When you go 1 for 9 from the perimeter in the first part of the game, it's time to change his plan and strategy a little bit and do things a little different. He's still firing.
I like him. I want him to
I
continue
like him a
playing the way
lot
he's
too. I
playing.
said it all over, but he did not have a good game. I thought he looked bad.
All right, so looking
That
bad
game. I mean,
was
he's not the only one.
more so about essentially teams that you think were looking
teams.
bad. But I mean,
Lakers.
players, sure, of course.
Yep.
Lakers look bad.
I picked 3 teams. I picked the Knicks, the Cavs, and then I put the Pelicans on there because I just wanted to talk about them. But you could also consider that they look good too.
You forgot the worst team of all time.
What?
The Suns.
Yeah, but that's such an obvious thing. I just wanted
Well, I
to not
mean, you
include them.
gotta say 'em.
They have the biggest point differential, negative point differential in like history. They lost by 48 games, the biggest opening night deficit of
And the
the.
coach gets fired after
3 games, which is
Did
silly.
you know that in the offseason, every single coach kept its job?
Yes, I did. That's like
That was
one of the
very
first times that
unusual.
happened ever.
Yeah, and now 3 games into the season, or maybe even 2 games.
Right. Well, I just
he's
kind of
gone.
figured he would have some type of immunity because of how poorly they were expected to be and how like it was just commonly
Yeah,
accepted
but
that
when
they were
you
going to be
lose
tanking.
by the numbers they were losing.
Oh my
by,
God, they were getting-
and you've got players saying that
was
they got their
laughable.
bags packed and no more. They ain't coming no more.
We'll talk
Your
about it
best
more.
player.
We got Bledsoe
Yeah, I know,
on the
that's
wheel,
why
but
I wasn't going to
it's.
say that.
I mean, but it's funny because Devin Booker doesn't look awful. I mean, on defense he's atrocious, but I mean, in offensive end he's getting to his spots. He looks good, but the other players on that organization just look really, really bad. Like I'm high on Marquise Chris in terms of athletic ability. I think Dragon Bender has potential, but all of these guys together, they just look like they don't want to be on the court together. They look like they don't care about winning. They look like they don't try on either ends. Lots of arms by the side. Lots of not following your own shot or following your teammates' shots. It was sloppy. That team is bad. Like the Bulls are still worse. I think the Bulls are the worst team in the league, but I think the Suns have the
Okay.
second worst record in the league at the end of the year.
Philly went 0-3.
So
I know they play tough teams. They're 0-3.
I was just going to say, they played some good teams. I think, every aspect of the thing. Of the team. The only part that made me a little nervous was some of the bench players that got a little more minutes than I would like. They played Luwawu Cabarrot didn't look as good as I was expecting him to. Justin Anderson wasn't as explosive. But their top 7 guys, I like how they mesh together. I think J.J. Redick is working really good with Ben Simmons. Fultz will catch on. I think it's still because he's injured. So I'm not really sure. He looks a little slow. Maybe we'll talk about him a little bit more when we talk about rookies. But overall, I like them. I like their movement on offense.
Yeah.
Their defense is real. Like, that's a good defensive team. They were locking
But look
down.
what happened as
They were
soon as
locking
Embiid
down the
was out.
Wizards.
You know Embiid's going to miss games this year.
He is,
They
he
got
is.
kicked when as soon as he's out of the line.
They got whomped by Toronto when he wasn't
Yeah.
there. But, I mean, Toronto's a commendable team.
The Knicks are a candidate for worst team too. They aren't looking good.
It's
at
Chris
all.
Stapps, and then that's it.
It's Kristaps and
I can't believe
They're unwatchable.
I can't believe Matt McKee trying to say that minus Kristaps, that supporting cast is the same as the Miami Heat's. That's one of the most abominable thing I've ever heard.
Well, that's what we're good for. We're good for throwing those things out there and seeing what
I
sticks.
guess.
You know,
Jeff Van Gundy
you know,
laughed.
Yeah,
one of my busts would be Frankie Cigarettes, and I mean,
he's only played 7 minutes.
yeah.
That's why.
The New York papers are writing that every time he even gets close to a basketball court, he either strains, pulls, hurts something. If he just sees a basketball court,
He looks nervous.
And yet they're guaranteeing all this stuff from him, and he's guaranteeing he's going to play, and he's a key player. And now Jared Jack, they're going to let him go. So all they got is him in Sessions.
Yeah.
So
mean,
far, I'm looking at him as a boss.
His first couple possessions, he shot air balls.
He
So,
shot air balls
yeah.
and he turned the ball over, which is to be expected because he hasn't played much. But man, come on.
So you said the Lakers
Frankie.
to start. Why are you disappointed in the Lakers?
Just doesn't seem like they're playing as a team. Obviously, the first game for Lonzo was a real letdown, and then the second game, after I declared that he was going to be a bust, of
Suns
course, he
asterisk.
got almost
Did you see the
triple-double.
LeVar on my interview with Stephen A. Smith?
Yes.
So LeVar continually looks to be smarter than Stephen A. Smith.
I think it's funny that he says the only
not a crazy
reason
statement.
why anybody's talking about Patrick Beverley is because it's in the same conversation as Lonzo Ball. Like, if you weren't, it's like,
I know.
Okay, well, we wouldn't be talking about LeVar Ball if not for Lonzo Ball. So.
I feel like everything you just said was true. Like, I mean, we're not going to talk about Patrick Beverley at opening night unless he's guarding Lonzo Ball.
Beverly's a
I
joke.
disagree on the Lakers.
I disagree as well. I'm enjoying them.
I am too. Kuzma's a nice story. But he
Kuzma's
continues
great.
to make
He-
points.
he's
I
impressed
think
me.
Lonzo Ball has played very well.
They're going to score a lot of points, for sure. But.
They're gonna play. I think you're starting to see their pace, their style of play. It goes to a ball at the right time. The timing's pretty good coming up the court.
Yep.
They're starting to open up just a little bit where he's got more. His vision is showing him more in front of him with the other players. I enjoyed watching him play against the Pelicans.
Yep.
I thought that was a good game. I didn't see the game against the Suns, and we may, as
I mean,
talking
it's
about
Suns
that,
asterisk.
we
Suns
may have to
asterisk.
discontinue.
It's
When
an
anybody
asterisk.
that played
You
against
play
the Suns and had a good game may not count.
Asterisk. But the game against the Pelicans was very promising because the players that the Pelicans have on the floor, although maybe their defensive scheme isn't that strong, they have a lot of defensive strong players. I mean, Anthony Davis is one of the best defensive players in the league. And I thought that they were patient on offense. They had quick passes. There were lots of good ball, good movement off ball. I really liked what I saw from all the players, even players like Tyler Ennis and random guys off the bench. I was liking. They had a stretch. Their comeback was mounted while Lonzo was on the bench.
Yeah.
And Josh Hart was in the game, and he was getting into Drew Holiday.
How long a time was that? Was it like 8 or 10 minutes?
Yeah, it was like an 8 or 10 minute stretch. They went on like a
And
14-2 streak. They were down like 90 to like 72 or something
And
like
Hart
that.
made shots.
Hart made shot. Yeah, their entire team. I think that they need to move. I'm out on Ingram.
What's with Randall?
I like Randall.
But he's not playing. Why?
He played. He looked. No, he doesn't because they start Nance because they think Nance is a better defender.
Kuzma's going to play.
They think, okay, so that's exactly what I'm saying. So I like those three guys. And I think betting on Kuzma, Nance, or Randall, one of those three guys to pan out to being the third best player on that team until they get a superstar there, I think that's the right strategy. I think Ingram, while his whatever potential he has is still somewhat high, I think you need to move him, and then you should. Literally, I was taking notes, and every single time Jordan Clarkson did anything good, I was like, trade Clarkson, trade Clarkson, trade Clarkson, trade Clarkson.
He might be their best player.
Jordan
Who's
Clarkson,
the best player on the,
Lonzo Ball, and Brook Lopez are their best players.
And that's a lot to say.
Brook should be, but I don't know if he is.
Well, Lonzo, he's surprising me with how strong he plays in terms of how quick his feet are on defense. It's like his feet are always moving on defense. He's always anticipating, which is pretty cool to see out there. He's got that idea on defense all the time. I don't know how good he is straight up on the ball, but he's always working off the ball. And then when he's going, he doesn't care if he's taking it to Boogie Cousins. He doesn't care. I mean, he gets his shot block. He really handles pretty strong.
Speaking of blocks, that Nance block.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, my.
Good one?
That was
great.
Yeah, he's a good shot player.
Players with 20.
DeAndre Jordan.
I know we said asterisk because Suns, but players with 29, 11, and 9,
Right.
21 years or younger. LeBron James had 47, 12, and 9. Michael Jordan had 35, 14, and 15, and that's it. That's the list. Lonzo Ball. That's it.
Really?
So he's not a bust after all.
No. We'll see.
He's not a bust.
I like
don't
how he
have him as
plays.
a bust
I
at
like
all.
how he plays in the pick and roll with
I do.
Randall. I like how I've enjoyed him. Something that was hilarious that I was talking about a little bit with some people after the game against the Suns, and then I started to notice even more against the Pelicans. And defense will begin to adjust once they start to watch some more film on it. But his form helps him. Right now, he's taking step backs.
It's changed. I think he's got. I told you. I think he's got 6 inches different to. I'd like to watch him.
It's still very
But I think
very
it's
over
changing
here.
a little bit.
But-
At least it's quick. He gets it off. Has he got it blocked yet?
No, he got blocked a couple times in the first game, but since then he hasn't been.
His outside shot, they get to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
first game.
but so something that I was very interested in is his step back to the left looks good, and he creates even more space because it's like a righty taking a step back to the right. And when he has a catch and shoot, and the closeout defender comes at him, they're running at him to his right hand. And that'll change eventually, but he's just shooting right up. There's a guy right on him, and they're going like this. He's just shooting right by him, and eventually it'll change. And I know teams will get accustomed to it. But right now he's taking advantage of the fact that he has a weird form that no one knows what to deal with.
He's got all sorts
great for
of
his
nice
first step,
floaters.
too. I mean,
Nice floaters inside the top of the key from 15 feet. Very soft
Yeah,
floaters.
soft floaters,
that
I
hang on
agree.
the rim.
It's a lot easier for his first step because the
Yeah.
up fake, you don't have to go all the way up. So
No.
he's like you said.
Hey,
he's
I know
quick.
it's on the sideline stuff, but one thing that's driving me nuts, and you're hearing it all the time, is what the heck happened to the jab step and the ball fake? And they call travel now. When you look at that replay, that guy's foot is so still, it's ridiculous. It's like they've got a directive to if you jab step and ball fake, it's on automatic travel.
That's something
Why is that taken away from the game?
That's something I was going to talk
The refs are
about.
too slow.
That's something I, yeah.
No,
that's something
they're
I was
trying
going
to do that.
That's something I was going to talk about if the impressions
Okay.
thing came up, just in terms of like what we just saw, just overall, just from a macro perspective. They've been calling every travel they can. Lots of travels are being called
I don't agree with the travel.
off the
Except
catch,
on LeBron
off the catch. So the thing is, they're not on like fast break layups. They're not calling that many travels. But I've seen more travel calls on just catch and then penetrate on like taking advantage of a closeout than I did all of last season in this first week. They're left and right in the Pelicans Lakers game. They must have called 4 or 5 of them in the last 5 minutes. They're really honing down and trying to lock in it. I guess I'm pretty indifferent
If you
on
keep
it.
your pivot foot still, you should not be in jeopardy of having. If you move your pivot foot, travel. If you don't move your pivot foot, the referees they've always seen it before.
Well, it's like what they think it is before they dribble, they do a shuffle. It's not one step. It's a shuffle. They move both
They
feet
can't
because they're
do
trying
that.
to
You can't.
explode.
That's a travel,
That's what
but
they're calling a travel
doing it.
for.
When they show the replay, I mean, basic basketball fundamentals, you catch and you stick your pivot foot.
Yep.
If it's a left foot, it sticks. It doesn't move.
I agree.
It stays there. And you jab, step, and ball fake, and every player plays like that. And part of the impression I get is you don't play like that no more. That's
agree.
not how they play. They don't jab, step, and ball fake. And maybe I'm seeing a transition from the errors that I'm familiar with to a new era where that's not as much of a part. To me, that was basic offensive basketball. Square, jab, step, ball fake, head fake, a crossover. Maybe why are they on that? I can see if they were sliding the pivot foot all the time.
I don't know. So the one other team that I just wanted to talk
Oh, I
about.
have another team. How about Golden State?
I think they'll figure it out. Who
Yeah,
cares?
but they're 1-2.
Yeah,
And they-
Memphis is a
they
gritty
won-
team.
they lost
That
games they should have won.
Memphis is a gritty team that's had success against the Warriors
Memphis, we were
since.
saying, was going to be one of the worst teams.
I didn't say one of the worst teams.
We
I just said they were going to be out of the playoffs.
They're out of the playoffs, we were talking.
Yeah, I just don't
Memphis
trust.
had some good moments against Golden State.
I just don't trust
Price
Gasol and Conley enough to stay healthy for long enough to make a season push. But the Cavs look sloppy. So they're 1-2 as well, right? No, they're 2-1. They're 2-1. So they lost to the Magic, and it was an abominable loss.
Yeah.
But the thing that's striking to me is their three-point percentage is like 27. And if you're on a team with LeBron James, that's not a recipe for success. That means they're playing too many players, too many minutes that aren't efficient shooters. And I think we saw a change for them to remedy this. Dwayne Wade demoted himself to the bench today. I think that's
He
the right.
did.
Yeah, he said I want to be moved to the bench. I think JR should be starting
So that's without Rose in the lineup, too.
without Rose in the lineup. So now they're going to start Calderon and J.R. Smith maybe.
Wow.
So it's going to be pretty interesting. I think that's more shooting, and I think that'll help. And this is what I wanted them to do initially because that's where the advantage comes from with having Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose on your team as off-the-bench creators to take advantage of other teams' second units.
Agreed. And that, if you only have one of them out there, it probably would work. If Wade.
There's too many bad shooters. You can't depend on Kevin Love to be the only good shooter with Jay Crowder as a good corner option. It clearly was not a successful strategy against us or who was the third team they played? They played the Magic and then I forget, whatever.
Bucks.
The Bucks. They won that game. But spin the wheel. Well, you got one more
That's a
team? You
good
got one more
victory.
team?
Huh?
What's your last team that doesn't look good?
Well, I said Golden State.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But I was disappointed in them.
I'm not disappointed. They usually start the season pretty slow. All right.
Bledsoe.
Suns, dumpster fire. Eric Bledsoe,
Yeah.
best player.
Yeah.
Been in trade rumors for 2 years.
Yeah.
Officially requested trade. He's requested a trade.
Well, did you hear what his quote was?
Yeah, he said,
I
I
don't
don't
want to play here anymore.
no, it was I don't want to be here.
I don't
was
wanna
the tweet.
be-
Was the tweet.
oh,
I don't want to be here. But exactly. So he was on. The Suns are currently on a away road trip, and they brought him home, and they just flew him home and said, "You're not playing." They called him.
Really?
They called him out for the next 2 games. I'm expecting a trade
Okay.
within the next 3 or 4 days.
I wish it was Booker.
No, they're not trading Booker.
No, but
they're
I
so
know,
centered on
but
him.
that's who we.
So,
that's what I want.
Booker's happy.
not that many teams have come out yet. The teams that have come out of the woodworks that are interested in him are the Bucks and the Knicks. Are the teams that are interested in him?
Malcolm?
Yep, maybe. What other teams?
Delhi?
What other teams would be interested in
threatened.
targeting
Knicks,
him?
for
What do you think
Knicks
would be
is
a proper
obvious.
package? What do you think the Suns are looking for? I think that the Cavs should trade for him. He's a better shooter than both like 2 guys that they have. I think they should try to move Tristan Thompson. I think they should hop in the
Oh, no,
situation.
no.
Hop in the situation.
No.
Hop in the situation.
I don't think so. I think the Cavs are all set. I mean, Isaiah, if he's going to eventually play, that team's got plenty. I think they do. I know. Yeah, they got some things to work on. I agree with you on the 3-point shooting, but I can't see giving Tristan Thompson for Bledsoe. No way.
I think Bledsoe's better than Tristan Thompson, and I think that the whatchamacallit would do that because Tristan Thompson would help the culture a little bit.
When
would
guys
have to be
turn me
Tristan
off by
and
their
picks.
antics,
Yeah, but not the Brooklyn pick.
I cross them off. If he's going to be a head case in Phoenix and he's going to
But he's-
sabotage the
but
team,
he's never had-
got no right saying that.
He's never had any evidence of being a saboteur or
This is
being a bad
sabotage,
apple.
to come out and
No,
say
it
this.
isn't. The
Yes, it
Suns
is.
being the team that they have been so far. That's
fired the
sabotage.
coach.
That's badness. Like him saying
So
I
you
don't want
say
to play here is normal. Like that's a normal statement from a person with a level head. So I think that him saying that after them firing the coach who was only there because the players liked him, that might have been a last straw for Bledsoe because
agree.
Bledsoe was probably close with Earl Watson. I also think that another team that could come on the radar would be the Clippers. I think the Clippers come on the radar. DeAndre Jordan has already tweeted out. Milos went down with an injury, and there other players are dealing with injuries as well. I would be interested to see what they would be able to offer for him.
Austin Rivers looked bad.
It would probably be something along the line of Austin Rivers and a pick selection package. So I think that would be
That sounds
interesting.
more like it
That-
than Tristan Thompson. The Knicks are. If the Knicks
Bledsoe's
got
better than
something-
Tristan Thompson.
Huh?
I said Bledsoe's better than Tristan Thompson.
Well, it's apples and oranges because of where Tristan Thompson plays. I mean, you can't replace Tristan Thompson with Bledsoe.
Yeah, you can. I don't know. What about another spot? You can see him landing another spot. What do you think about the whole Bledsoe
I
thing?
like the Knicks a lot. I think that I think I would really.
So to send him
obviously, they've got
to send him from one dumpster fire to another dumpster fire?
Well, I don't know who they can trade to get him, but I think that would.
Hernan Gomez, maybe?
Yeah, he's not happy, and Kristaps wants him to play. Kristaps' his buddy, and he still can't get him to
They
play.
need to move someone in there.
So the coach is seeing Cantor as the player, and
I'd watch the Knicks if they had Bledsoe.
I mean, I watch the Knicks anyway just because they have Kristaps, but if Kristaps not in the game,
We'd
I
watch
don't watch
everything.
them. All right,
Yeah.
we'll spin it. A couple more things. Couple more. All right,
okay, good.
Boston Celtics.
Yes.
We're 1-2. So I just wanted to talk about generally what we saw from the team. I went back and watched that first game. I really liked our second half. I've liked what we've seen from the rookies. Even outside of Jason Tatum, I think Semi is giving us good minutes. He honestly looked like the most commendable defender against LeBron in that game. I'm excited for all these players. I'm even willing to draw back a little bit on my negativity that I gave Shane Larkin. Shane Larkin gave us good minutes in the last game.
Better than that.
Yeah, he looks good.
He did give us good minutes. I thought it was unusual that we took Kyrie Irving out of those situations, and Kyrie has maybe
And Rozier too.
Yeah, so I'm pretty high on everyone.
Jaylen Brown.
Yes,
Looks amazing.
he looks phenomenal.
He's coming together.
The basic problem they got is that without Hayward, they don't have a dependable second scorer. And there's a complete difference between what Hayward gives you as a dependable scorer every night and what Jaylen Brown is giving them or Tatum is giving them. And that it's changed Horford's game completely. Horford now becomes the second guy, and he's not playing the same way as he was when he had Kyrie and Hayward, where the mix there was looking good. It also changes Kyrie. Now they start to concentrating on him more. So not having that second dependable scorer puts them where they were last year, basically with Isaiah, maybe even a little worse. So
they're
that'd be
worse,
one
yeah.
thing I say about them.
I disagree to a degree. I don't think.
Who's the dependable second scorer?
I think a combination of Jaylen Brown and Jason
Jaylen Brown
Tatum.
is not.
Jaylen Brown is not averaging 18 points a game. He isn't one of the most aggressive drivers in the game.
Hayward's three-point shooting.
It's a commemorative effort. It's all the team.
Well, I'm not seeing it
it's
from
Kyrie
Smart and
Irving
Brown
needs to
as
take
far as
more.
the three-point shooting.
Jalen looks pretty good from the corner. Jalen looks pretty good from the corner.
Right now, I don't look at him as a dependable second scorer. I don't think he's going to.
I don't know what more he has to do in his first week.
Yeah, how do you not see him? Everything he's done is pointed towards him being a great secondary scorer. He's been aggressive. He attacks closeouts awesome. Tatum attacks closeouts great too.
One game he was like 1 for 8 and 1 for 9 from the outside.
He's been over 40% in every game, and I mean, if he's going to be taking the second most shots in the game, you got to take
how
the good
Jaylen
with
Brown has played. I just don't see him as a second-level player on the team. I don't see that. I see him as a 21-year-old star bursting on the scene, and he's got a ways to go. And right now, in the meantime, they don't have that player. There's a couple other things. Kyrie Irving is shooting 35%.
Yeah, no, he's not going to play. He's not going to play as bad.
The team is shooting 67% from the foul line.
Yeah.
Now, those two things, I am down to some extent on Kyrie Irving. And the guy pretends to be a leader, blank my blank. When somebody says, how's LeBron? Where's LeBron?
Yeah, he's
Your
antagonizing
response, no, that is bogus from a guy that's leading your team. He's Big Baby
He's not the leader.
He's Big Baby Davis. He's the market. In that situation, he is. He needs to. He said, I've got all this on me about playing with a young team, and we're behind by 4 points at halftime, and it's just a gut response, and I'm sorry about all the kids that had to hear. Come on.
Yeah, I don't like him as a person. I like him as a player.
That's a problem. When he's your frontline guy, and I'm seeing that as potentially somebody that I don't want to hang my hat on.
I'm not that nervous about Kyrie. I think he has played poorly overall. Not necessarily poorly, but worse than expected.
So what's he got in common with Boogie Cousins?
Nothing.
$25,000 fines for cursing at a fan. What's he got in common with Big Baby Davis? Blank my blank to a fan.
I'm not going to let one comment for a fan antagonize him and get in the way of players.
Nobody says anything negative about him, and there's something about him that's so sensitive that you can't talk negative about him, because I'm seeing nothing that's virtually negative about that guy. I'm seeing the guy right now is shooting 37%. He's not making his shots. He's going to win all 3 games if he played like Kyrie Irving.
Well, it's been a very, very emotional week, too.
Yeah,
I mean, his frustrations are probably running wild.
So the thing with Kyrie Irving is when he plays bad, it's going to look really bad. Because
he's such a great shooter. He shouldn't
because his play style is very difficult shots and very difficult penetration of tight spaces with difficult dribble moves. So his level of play when he plays good, it looks incredible. But when he plays average or bad, you're thinking he's making stupid mistakes when in reality he's just a little bit off on the things he usually does correctly.
In reality, will he miss LeBron?
No, he doesn't miss LeBron. I think he'll be fine. He shows signs of.
Does that help his game to have somebody that's at that level?
His two-man game with Tatum, his two-man game with Horford. I mean, I think he's meshing well. I just think that shots are going to begin to fall a little bit more. He's going to get in the offense, the flow of the offense a little bit more. He's been playing off
ball. His character at this point, and as far as being a Celtic, and I think he's borderline prima donna. That is somebody that's
diva.
And I don't, I mean, Isaiah was too, but man, I felt a whole lot different in my gut about Isaiah than I feel about Kyrie. And that's enough on him. I mean, there's plenty to talk about. And I got other stuff I'd like to talk about if you guys can take a turn.
I mean, another thing about Jaylen is I think that he needs to stop guarding 3s and 4s. He's clearly an elite defensive player.
Elite defense. I love his defense.
When he plays defense on 1s and 2s, he locks them down. In the Cavs game, D Wade, JR, Shump, D Rhodes, Korver, none of them stood a chance when they were guarded by Jay. But Jaylen, once he started to guard LeBron or even Jay Crowder, he struggled a little bit with that strength because then it's more on decision making on how to counteract someone who's a little bit stronger than you with defensive IQ, and that's where you see him biting on up fakes and overreaching and cheating. So I think he really needs to focus on guarding the shooting guards who run off ball a lot, and I think that's where he can succeed.
When he makes his contribution to the team, he's making elite defensive plays. And when they're showing some things he's doing, like there was one on a pick and roll, and they showed that he got bumped out or whatever, and then they showed the next thing, they tried to run the same thing on him, he was all over it, and it was so fast and so quick and anticipated so well that he was right on top of that screen, and there's no way they were stopping him the second time, and it was elite. The quickness and the length of the arms and the anticipation, that's where his strength of the team is versus being the second scorer.
I still think he can be the second scorer.
Can,
I wouldn't be
but he's not.
surprised.
But right now, he's really.
I wouldn't be surprised if he finished the year averaging 16 points a game as the second leading scorer on this team. I don't think that's that crazy.
Put it on the board.
I don't think it's that crazy to say. He's aggressive on defense, which is another thing I like. But something that I have noticed from both him and Tatum is they seem like they're really quick learners. So if they do something wrong one time, you don't very often see that same mistake happen again. More so with Tatum than Jalen, but I see it with Jalen as well.
Both of them. And what you're seeing also is that they're both really good.
Right.
And you're not sure when you're looking at those 19 and turning 21 today or tomorrow.
They look mature.
Tomorrow, that you're not sure which one's going to be better.
No.
And they're both really good.
I
don't know which one to say he's going to be better than the other one. They're both really good.
I've been on the Jalen train, and I'll remain on the Jalen train. He had like 5 fouls with like a couple minutes left in the fourth. I like that. I like that. I think in the future he'll make that pull-up three, that open pull-up three that would have gave us a tie in the end of the game. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. What about some fringe Celtics players? What do we think about the minutes we've seen from Theis and Jabari Bird or any of these guys?
And it connects with Stevens.
Okay.
And when they after that game, that second half against Cleveland was pretty amazing. And I haven't seen that level of defense since that came on that floor with Brown.
We were
Rozier
intense.
And
That was
Smart.
intense.
I was hoping that was going to carry over.
Right.
But when they asked Heinsohn at the end of the game what he thought the turning point was, and he said this may be a seasonal turning point, and it is subtle, and it is Tommy and all this stuff. But he said it's when Stevens put Larkin in the game. It sent a message to the whole team that I am not circling the wagons here with Gordon out. We're playing the same way we did before. Everybody's important. That was a shock to me that Shane Larkin came in that game in the third quarter against Cleveland. I was anticipating a condensing of rotation and everything. And since then, it showed that, look how Larkin played. Look how Jabari Bird played.
I didn't like how Larkin played in the Cleveland game, to be fair. I thought he played well in the other game.
It's not how he played. It's that Stevens used him when he was like 12th or 13th man on the team, and he sent him. He's
still trying to plug in.
I think Heinsohn's right. He sent a message to the whole team.
He's
that
experimenting.
This is status quo, but he certainly played well. And I thought Jabari Bird came in and locked down Redick.
He looks like a great. I was literally about to say
He locked down
when
Redick.
he played JJ Redick playing around the ball.
They need him. They might have lost that game if they didn't lock down Redick because Redick was on fire.
Yes, I agree. He played great minutes.
And Jabari Bird played, and that was really interesting that he kept Rozier on the bench and Kyrie on the bench with that. Pretty neat how he's using those. Rozier played well.
I think Rozier looks frenetic out there. He looks like
he's always looked that way.
You know, it almost looks like he's freelancing sometimes. Like he's not even like running plays, and he's just a little wild.
He says that,
I'm into it.
and Kyrie disagrees with him a little bit, as he says with Hayward out, you've got guys that are going and different guys in the game that they're not as in sync as they were before in terms of guys going to their spot and being where they belong. That they're all supposed to be multi-positional, but you've got guys that are going to different spots out there and some of these guys, and Kyrie said, they said too, we never practiced with these guys.
Right.
We haven't run our plays with these guys, and you may be seeing. I'm pretty satisfied with how Rozier's played.
I'm interested in.
He's averaging 12 a game.
Yeah, I'm interested in the game tomorrow. 4 days rest, get a couple practices in. Yeah, with the Knicks, I really think we have a chance to really just blow them out of the water, show some unity in the first couple quarters.
Yeah, we need that game.
I think that this is a perfect game to lead into, because then we play the Bucks again at the Bucks for a little revenge against them.
So if Hayward is indeed out for the whole year, then they could do an injury exception where they would get an additional $5 million.
$8 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically,
because the veterans minimum or veterans exception would be 4.5
right. No, it's like
million.
I forget what the actual title is, but it's basically a severe injury exception.
I don't think the Celtics would even
guy
need
I'm
$9 million
out,
total. But
the guy I'm jumping out becomes a real key guy, and that's Morris. Becomes a real key guy.
Yeah, we need him to play. We need him to play valuable minutes.
Starter.
We need him to play valuable.
He's not even going to touch a basketball this week. He said he's out of shape and he's banged up and out of shape, and now Smart. They said his ankle's hurting.
I know.
Both ankles.
I know, but and they're not. They are saying that Morris is going to step in there, and that he certainly is cocky as they come in terms of.
Who's a free agent the Celtics might go for.
For $8 million, it's not going to be good enough.
There are many out
I
there.
don't think.
I don't think we're going to sign anyone.
They could bring back Gerald Green.
Yeah, I saw that too, but I don't know. Maybe. How has your expectations changed with Gordon out? Where do we drop in the standings? What's our record breakdown look like now instead?
I think we're at 50 wins.
50 wins. I'm right about the same. Where are you?
And 50 wins. I'm seeing other teams that look good. Obviously, the Bucks look good. Be interesting to see them play. They play the Bucks this week too, the Celtics, and see how that
Bucks,
goes.
Milwaukee.
Washington looks good. Toronto looks decent. You know.
I'm so down on Toronto.
Yeah, they played some good games.
What are you thinking? A little bit
I'm
less?
thinking a little less, actually.
Less than 50.
I think they're going to be closer
Yeah.
to 45, actually.
That's tough.
I think they're going to be between those.
45.
I think they're between those. I'm predicting.
tough.
I'm predicting around 48, 49 wins for them. I think that they still are going to be a top 4 team, but they're not going to be a top 3 team. I think they're the 4 seed behind the Bucks and behind the Wizards. I'm confident that they're going to be better than the Raptors. I don't really trust the Raptors in terms of their depth, depending on the young players. Although certain players belong right. OG Anunoby.
So ask us again.
If nothing else, you could say
Again,
now that there's less pressure on them.
Yes.
Because I think the expectations
So much,
are
exactly.
just
So much less pressure. They have
completely down.
maybe. You hate to use Gordon Hayward as a galvanizing type of motivator, but it might bring the team together in a certain
I don't
way.
see it that way at all.
I don't see it that way either, but you never
They
know.
could have easily been 0-3.
Yes.
And that would have been. They would have had a lot of pressure on them.
We could also be 3-0.
Yeah,
I think just as
so.
many things could go right as it could have gone wrong.
I
I'm taking my Coach of the Year award prediction out, too.
I don't know.
Stevens?
I don't know. I
We'll
think
see what
it's
he
more
puts
likely
together.
now. I think it's
know.
more likely
He
now.
certainly got his biggest challenge here.
Yeah, if we're a 3 seed, he's Coach of the Year.
He looked like he was going to cry after that Hayward game.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Wheel.
All right, let's do it.
See where we're going next.
Looking.
Looking-
Okay, I'll just do
We
it.
go looking good.
We can just go. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, looking
Okay,
good. Good job.
Looking good.
Looking good. I put my first team on looking good is the Brooklyn Nets. I think
Yes.
the Brooklyn Nets look great. They have an identity. They have the fastest pace in the league. They're scoring the most points in the league. They're exciting to watch. Like, they're very enjoyable. Watching them their games is like
First team.
fun.
They are a run and gun team.
Yes.
For sure.
First team since the 1988 Portland Trailblazers to score over 115 points in their first 3 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, so that's something that I also was going to touch on in the impressions thing is there's been 15 teams that have scored 120 points or more
Yeah,
so
there's
far
been-
this
there's been some
season.
big
The
numbers.
pace is through the roof.
Some
so
Yes.
far.
numbers, individually and team-wise.
Yes.
I mean, D'Angelo Russell is looking
He's
like
awesome.
Yeah, he's making plays, but I mean, what did he do last week? He made a big shot, and then he started parading around the court, checking his wrist for the walks to the foul line and misses the foul shot. He really
That's
looked like-
classic. That's classic D'Angelo
It's
Russell.
not classic when you're at his stage of his career. When
Yeah,
you're at
it's-
Isaiah,
I don't think the fans will complain about that. I think the fans are happy to have him there.
Isaiah started looking at his watch after he won about 6 games on the buzzer. Then he started looking at his watch. You don't start looking at your watch. in the
D'Angelo
second game of the
D'Angelo
season.
Russell definitely has a little bit of a jabroni in him. So just let him be in the goofball. That's okay. Like, that's fine. I really like him. He's got great one-handed assists on backdoor cutters. He has
Yeah, he finds the open
he has
man.
surprising
Cross
vision,
court, nice
and I
cross
really
court
like
passes.
all the other pieces on this team. I like Hollis Jefferson. I really like LeVert. I think LeVert is showing a lot of good
Who's
signs.
the rookie?
Jarrett Allen, big guy.
Yeah, he didn't play that one last game.
But he played one game. He had
played
four.
good.
He had 4 blocks in 10 minutes.
You know who I like? Is one of my surprises for the week is Spencer Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie, yeah, what a
That
goofy
was
name.
awesome. Come on, Jeremy
did look good.
Lin.
He
this
looked
was
good. He
sad.
looked good.
Jeremy Lin goes down.
Yeah, that was sad.
And he screams to the
Sorry.
bench, "I'm done!"
Right.
And he meant his career.
Yeah.
And it probably is. And now he's had problems with his knees.
He has.
I think he's in a lot of
We'll
trouble.
see, we'll see.
Anyways, Spencer Dinwiddie comes out of nowhere to start. He's 6'6". He handles. He goes 16-5-5 in
looks
a
good.
victory, a good victory. Who they beat? They beat Orlando, or they had a good victory.
They beat Orlando. They're 2-1. They beat the Orlando.
Beat Orlando with Dinwiddie going
and
16-5-6.
They
That was a big
lost to the
surprise
Pacers.
performance by him.
I mean, they're
thought.
going to have a lot of up and downs, but they have chances to beat okay teams because they're going to be putting so many points on the board. So if they have a really good shooting game and the other team can't make
Yeah, that one was
120 points,
129,
which isn't that unreasonable.
121.
That's what
Dinwiddie reminds me of the backup point guard in Golden State.
Yeah,
Livingston, yeah.
Livingston,
I agree with
only
that.
young and healthier.
Yeah.
In that same game,
Yeah, I agree.
in that same game, Vukovic scored 41 for Orlando.
Vucevic looks
41.
great. He looks good. He's extended his range out to the
Yeah.
3. He looks really good. I've always been pretty indifferent on him. He's kind of like a nobody that you kind of just pass over, but he's looked great this season. And the Magic, I don't know if I count as a good team, but they've looked good so far. I mean, they beat
Yeah,
the
they have.
Cavs. Evan Fournier, your guy.
I was making a list.
He's
I didn't
good.
bring it. I think we got a lot of things. But I was making a list of the guys that you've been selling me and the guys that I've been selling you.
Okay.
And Fournier certainly made the list. I mean, he had a couple of good games.
He looks
this week.
good. He looked good. I don't like him.
I know,
I'm
but I
still out
got
on
the
him, but he
same
looks.
thing. I'll say the same thing with Simmons. Shep.
Okay.
Simmons looked good.
Yes,
Simmons
76ers on my. Despite
Simmons
being
looked solid.
I think despite being 0-3, I put the Sixers on looking good because they also have played some tough competition. I like their games, and as we touched on a little bit before, I think Ben Simmons looks great.
I'm not ready for great, but I think he looked good. If he's going to score 17, 18 points a game, he's on his way to maybe rookie of the year.
Well, in three games, he's averaging
Nobody else
6.
is going to average 18 a game.
I think Dennis Smith will.
Is that Fenny Smith?
Denny Smith.
F-E-N-N-E-Y?
Dennis Smith. Oh, that's a completely different player. Same team.
Smith's not playing then.
Dorian Finney-Smith, and then there's Dennis Smith Jr.
Okay, and Dennis Smith is not playing.
He only played one game. He just he took an injection for just like a reoccurring knee problem he had before. He's fine. He's going to play tonight. He's a big player to watch.
Tendonitis?
I forget what it was. Effusion. He had a knee effusion. I'm not really sure what it was, but I mean Ben Simmons is averaging 16 and 10 and 6. He's clearly a difference maker. His vision is right up there with Lonzo Ball. I really like his ability as a player, and defensively he is worlds beyond what we expected him to be on. Everyone was really expecting him to be in no man's land a lot of the time, be making lots of silly mistakes, and he doesn't. He predicts passing lanes. Yes, he is. He's very composed. Yes, he predicts passing lanes. He's a good weak side rim protector. I'm in on Simmons. I've been on Simmons. I know I've been in Simmons. I'm more in now.
I'll give you a little Simmons.
Sure.
I got other good for the week.
Good. Give me more good.
How about the individual performances?
Okay.
LeBron against the Celtics. I thought he was amazing for that. I mean,
no, he said he wasn't good.
29, 10, and 9.
Talked himself down.
The game at the end. Hassan Whiteside, 26 and 22 against the Magic.
Yeah.
And then you got Boogie and Davis
scoring
35 in the same game together. You got Davis scoring. You got 4 guys in the league that are averaging over 30 points, and they're 2 of them.
I wanted to talk about the Pelicans. I didn't know where to put them because I'm so confused about them. They look really, really good in some parts, and then they look really bad at some parts. And it's all because when their offense is featured around Boogie and Barrow, and those 2 guys are making their presence felt on the defensive end, that team looks elite. But as soon as their role players begin to have a little bit too much responsibilities, they look awful. So their team is really interesting. So those 2 guys are averaging 60 points, 28 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, and 5 blocks a game so far in these 3 games.
He was so slow. He
Yeah.
walks for a reason. But
does.
anyways, they don't play. They play a lot of time with only one of them on the court.
They do. They stagger them, and I'm down for that.
You have to do.
Yeah, you do. But it's just so obvious. I think Dell Demps is the first GM to get fired this year because I really think them not succeeding is such a testament to GM putting the wrong players to surround them and not be able to have a succeeding product. They need shooters on that team. I don't know what they're doing trying to surround them by a bunch of defensive players. Tony Allen has lost a step. He doesn't look like he's there.
I thought he looked pretty good this week.
Etuan Moore is their second best shooter outside of their big guys, but why is that the guy? They need to just switch him out. Bring in Joe Green. They would love Joe Green. Why don't they have Joe Green on the team?
How far away is Rondo from playing? Is he going to?
He's day to day. That's what
they look more together.
Yes, they do.
They didn't look like they had boogie disease.
No, they look good.
Which they were playing together.
They're intense on both ends of the floor.
I got used to Boogie's pace of play. I mean, it's slow.
Well, he trails the play. He's the trailer.
He walks back on defense.
He jogs. He's just big.
Time.
He weighs like 280. Just give him a break.
I thought Aldrich's look real well, and San Antonio looks like they've stabilized and that they're going to be an elite team.
I stand by Kawhi not being hurt, and this is purely just an experiment to make Aldridge a little bit more happy.
Then Kristaps has got big numbers.
Yeah, of course he does. The team sucks.
Well, he's having 33 games.
He might average 30 a game for the season.
That'll be hard, but you know what?
He might.
Thing I read
He's probably going to take 30 shots a game.
When he was in Spain, he had that trainer that he brought over with him did a lot of testing on him, and what they ended up coming down with him is that he does too much cardio every day. He was running 10 miles a day all the time.
It's a problem with a lot of athletes.
You've got to cut back on the cardio if you want to even last. If you don't want to burn out this season, you want to be ready. So they cut him way back on the cardio, and they got him doing strength training and weights, and saying save your cardio for the game. I guess he's a nut as far as a workout, and he was working out much too much. We'll see whether he.
That's what players are doing. They're pushing themselves too much because they want to be better at all times, and there's something to be said about rest and about diversifying your palate in terms of what you're doing to train.
That team's going to have trouble winning games, so
Pliability. Send him to TB12.
Yes, I agree. TB12. You got one more guy on that list there?
Nope. I thought Mark Gasol's game against Golden State was all.
He always plays great together.
I'm quite fond of
You guys know
Memphis.
better than me.
I think Memphis looks good.
So
I think the Wizards look good too.
Something that I was really excited about was when there was trade rumors with Marc Gasol. I was so excited because that was right around the time that I thought we would be transitioning into being a finals contender, and Marc Gasol always performs against the Warriors, and the Warriors don't really have an answer for him. Draymond Green cannot guard Marc Gasol.
And Kevin Durant. Wasn't Draymond out that game? Or?
He missed parts of it.
I was ready to be that one of the ones that I'm selling you with Draymond, but I'm not ready to sell Draymond.
I'm so sick of Draymond Green.
I know both you guys are, and but
very overrated.
Okay, we'll talk more about it.
So frustrating.
One more good. I think the Thunder, despite being 1-2, look awesome. I think their big three is meshing together better than any of the other new acquisitions that we've seen in comparison to Jimmy Butler over there with the Timberwolves, in comparison to Chris Paul with the Rockets, in comparison to Kyrie with this.
And they had a bad
They're happy too. You can see they're all
my God, they love playing
like,
together. It makes sense. Melo is literally Olympic
fun
Melo.
Melo.
He is literally Olympic Melo. The play style that he has, quick shots, catch and shoots, not many dribbles. He's playing like Klay Thompson. He's moving off ball a little bit. He's catching the ball high post. He's finding people in the post. I love. And
did he win in that situation?
As a defensive four, he has grit. Do you see him defending fours?
He has no grit.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He's literally averaging
grit.
He's averaging close to 2 steals a game, and close to a block and a half a game. He's defending.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He locked down Gorju Jang. I know that's so discouraging, but he's
I'm
locking
going with
down.
his offense, but I ain't going with his defense.
You need to watch him on the defensive end because he is there. He is there. He's got hands on loose balls. Defending the pick and roll. He's all over it. I'm so in on Melo. I think he's having a great season.
Carmelo's defense. You got that. You're not. And that's. I mean, obviously that was. You're selling me Carmelo.
He's obviously.
I gotta say, offensively,
he's obviously coming from the basement. He's coming from the basement in terms of his
defensive
defensive
ability. He thought he was going to be the number 3 option. He ends up being the number 1 option.
Well, no.
He's getting more shots than the other guys.
They're all taking the same amount of shots. Russell Westbrook is taking.
Carmelo's taking the most.
He has it. Russell Westbrook has taken the most shots by like 6 or 7, and then Paul George.
He only had 9 points last game.
Yeah, but the game before that he had 30, and the game before that he had like 25. Okay. All 3 of them are taking right around the same shots. There's no selfishness between the 3 of them. The only time there's any selfishness is when it's the Carmelo and bench unit, and he takes shots away from Raymond Felton, which he should be doing. And I just love the way the cohesion that team makes so much sense. Steven Adams is a difference maker, and awesome. He is going to make a difference against the Golden State Warriors. I think this team has potential to push them to 7 games, and if everything falls right for them,
it's only the 3rd game.
It's only the 3rd game, but we're supposed to be seeing a bumpy road for them right now. We're supposed to be seeing mistakes, and this team looks great.
Houston too. Houston's 3-0.
Yeah, but it's completely different because in the Chris Paul hasn't been playing. They're good because they're good. They might not need Chris Paul and Harden to mesh to play good because in the game
they're so deep too. Yeah, that's such a great roster.
In the game that Chris Paul did play, I wasn't really super fond of the Harden and Chris Paul comparisons. I thought that they went to a lot of Chris Paul, Harden pick and roll with Clint rolling in as a secondary action for whoever the ball handler was early, and I like those actions, and the offense that they created off that was really efficient, but then they never went back to it, and it was stagnant, and Chris Paul was standing 35 feet away from the hoop when James Harden was driving the hoop, and it really made no sense. So I'm nervous. I think that's the worst fit out of all the new acquisitions. But again,
I don't think
it matters. I don't think it matters. They're still going to win 50-plus games.
That'll be fine.
50-plus.
What do you think about the Thunder?
I like the Thunder.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like Detroit.
I haven't really watched much Detroit.
I think they're
Thunder's they're going to be one of the most fun teams to watch.
From the highlights, Drummond looks like his septum or whatever is feeling a little bit better. He looks good, a little bit more spry.
I only had seen 2 games, and I didn't see the 3rd game. So he had hit 3 for 3 in one game and 2 for 2 for another.
Okay.
And I was ready to say, who's leading the league in foul shooting? And he went 3 for 9 in the other.
Oh yeah. So it's so weird that
DeAndre Jordan stepped up on the free throw line.
All the bad free throw guys didn't look that bad.
Harris is playing well.
Harris looks good.
They got Jackson and Bradley and
well, Jackson's year last year was such just a complete stray away from his mean as a player.
But it helps him to have Bradley there, I think, and Harris playing really well. Jackson might be better than we thought.
Well, I mean, he was really good 2 years ago. He was a fringe all-star 2 years ago.
Yeah.
All right, last one on the wheel, and then we'll go to something else. I don't know. I didn't even play anything. Just winging it. Sloan, got something to talk about?
Is it me?
Yeah, sure. It's probably on Mike from the camera's view, but we're over here, so I don't care what the camera says.
I was wondering who you think is the best 3rd option in the league. Like, who's the best number 3?
On that team?
in the league. So I was thinking.
I mean, Melo's got to be up there.
Melo's up there. I was thinking Golden State. Obviously, Klay Thompson looks amazing.
He's probably it. He's probably the person.
He might be actually
Who's
a
the
dark
third
horse
option on
MVP
Minnesota?
pick
It's hard to
this
say
year.
who the third option is.
Hey, Thompson?
Huh?
Thompson. He could be an
Is Thompson the
MVP
third
pick.
option? Or
If they win 70 games,
how can you win 70 and be 1-2? It's over for 70.
because they're the Golden State Warriors, they can absolutely still
No,
win 70
1
games
and 2
if they
ends in
want
70.
to. No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
2 losses.
Yeah, they can only lose.
How many losses do you need to have? You need to have 12 losses. I disagree. I don't think that if they want to win 70 games, they could. They're not going to. I think they're going to win like 68, but still, they're fine.
They're not going to win that many games.
I mean, but if you think about it, I think it has to be Klay Thompson. If you're looking past that, like you got like Otto Porter.
Otto Porter's a good one.
I don't like Otto Porter. I've been out on him.
He's a good third option. I like the stud lineup. I like the team.
I mean,
He's
with
not even in the top 5.
Gallinari.
Gallinari looked pretty good.
And then I think Andrew Wiggins, he looks really good.
But he might not be the third option on that team. He's been really scoring. Butler might be the third option.
On offense, he
won
is.
games.
On offense, he
defensively,
is.
you're right.
I mean, he's not their second or first best player. But
Yeah.
Butler is their first or second best player. But Butler has taken a step back, and he has been more conservative, and he's more intense on the defensive end, which is something I was really hoping to see. I want to see that step forward from Wiggins, and so far he looks really clutch. Like he hit multiple buzzer beaters, including that a little bit fluky bank buzzer beater to beat the Thunder last night. But he looks really good. His ability to hit difficult shots is right up there with the best of them so far. I mean, he looks really impressive. But I think
Reddick's a good third option.
I think it's got to be Klay Thompson. I think it's Klay Thompson.
You love Reddick.
You do love Reddick. All right, so we're going to jump to this week's edition of the medals. We'll look across some games this coming week. We'll pick some weeks. Mike is the reigning champion after 1 week. Tonight, we got some good games tonight. Philadelphia, Detroit. Sloan. At Detroit.
I'll go.
Embiid is playing.
I'll go Philly.
Mike.
Detroit.
Okay.
They get their first
0-4. Memphis at Houston. Sloan.
Houston.
Mike.
I'm going with Memphis with Paulo.
Figured you would. Toronto at the Spurs. Kawhi is still out.
I got San Antonio.
I also have San Antonio.
Yeah, me too.
San Antonio across the board. Can't bet against Pop. All right, Washington at Denver. Jokic has looked like in a funk so far.
I'm going mile high.
He'll figure it out. He'll figure it out.
I
I think Jokic is going to figure it out.
Washington on the road. Go ahead.
I'll go Washington
You'll have to
on
go
that
ahead.
one.
Washington.
I always wonder why they don't do back-to-backs in the same city. Why don't Oklahoma City go to Utah and play Utah twice if they're going to go back-to-backs? Would that open the schedule up instead of having to go back to Oklahoma City the next night and play a tough game against Minnesota? I'm not sure you could possibly do that with teams in your own division, but just play them twice and then they play you twice.
I think they just want to diversify the schedule. They don't want people playing the same. I think they would.
Back-to-back.
They think they would lose. I bet you there's
back to-
ticketing issues. They don't want to lose interest in games by selling the same game 2 nights in a row.
I do in baseball.
Yeah, but baseball sucks.
No, it doesn't.
Sacramento at Phoenix.
Sacramento at Phoenix?
Yeah, worst team in the league, Phoenix.
That's a gross game.
I like Sacramento a little bit.
I like Sacramento a little bit too.
I
De'Aaron Fox is averaging 14, 5, and 5 as a
he was
rookie.
playing.
He
That
looks
was good to
really
see.
good. And I think Sacramento is doing a really good job with their youth and mending it over. I was a little nervous on how they were going to do it with bringing in these veterans, and I think they're doing a great job. I think they're giving the minutes where minutes are deserved. They're only playing the players when they deserve and earn the minutes.
So now it's Phoenix without Bledsoe. That ought to be pretty.
Yeah,
I'll go Phoenix in that gross game.
Yeah.
How many points they giving up a game?
Phoenix, like
130?
120 something, like 122. Tomorrow, Brooklyn at Orlando. 2 teams playing pretty well, both 2-1 right now.
I don't think Brooklyn can win on the road. I got Orlando.
Okay,
Brooklyn's going to come down.
Orlando for me as well.
I did not do that. I picked Brooklyn. Really high on Levert. I think he's great. I think he's a candidate for most improved player. It might be Chris. It's spelled Caris, but I feel like his name's Chris.
Okay.
I don't know. Levert. The Pelicans at the Portland Trailblazers. Did you watch the Bucks Trailblazers game?
No.
Giannis. So okay, right now.
How many did he have in that game?
44.
That was 44 in that
44,
game.
yeah. So
he's had like 35, 33, 37, and 44.
I think it was 38. I think it was 38, 34. No, I want to talk about it right now. So he looks like he's the best player in the league. Right now, from everything we've
Is he
seen,
better than Anthony Davis?
it's really, really close,
Yeah.
and I'm going to give him the edge right now from what we've seen. Anthony Davis is a little more dominant because on the offensive end, he's more versatile with a shot. He has a shot.
I think they're asking Giannis to do the impossible.
Well, it's so crazy because of how dominant he is, and he just doesn't have a jump shot, and it just doesn't matter. He's
So
34 for 40 inside the
talk about-
restricted area. How crazy is that?
He just glides through people.
He does whatever
It's
he
amazing.
wants. He's so strong. It's crazy.
He's magical.
Yeah, nobody plays
He's on the
harder,
MVP
more
list, too.
demanding
Oh,
minutes
yeah,
than
he's up there.
Giannis.
I mean, he looks phenomenal. I'm really excited about him. Just got a
And
notification.
do you hear what his quote was?
What?
It's only the beginning.
Yeah, it's only beginning. He's ready to improve more. I'm excited for him. The Knicks are opposed to trade Ntilikina and Hernan Gomez for Eric Bledsoe. That's a bad thing to be opposed to doing.
They're opposed to trading
Opposed.
Frankie
They're opposed to
Cigarettes and,
figure cigarettes and Hernan
a
Gomez.
guy they're not
All
playing.
right, who you got? Pelicans versus Blazers.
I got Blazers at home.
Pelicans.
I also picked the
Pretty
Pelicans.
good.
Utah at the Clippers. Jazz have looked good.
I got Clippers.
Clippers.
Me too.
I also got the Clippers. I think the Jazz are a little bit headstrong right now. Houston at Philly.
Houston.
I guess so. You can't. There's no way of predicting what Embiid, how they're going to play Embiid. You
there
know
isn't.
they're not going to play him back to back.
There's going to be a lot of points in that game.
This isn't a back-to-back.
It's not a back to back.
That's a 250-point game there.
I'm going to go with Philly with their first big win.
I like it. I picked Houston.
0-4, and they'll be 1-4.
1-4 with a big win against Houston. I can
At
see
home.
that. That makes sense.
That would.
Embiid will play that game.
Memphis at Dallas. Dennis Smith is back tonight. You should watch every single time he's on the floor because he's electric.
I'm done with Dallas.
Done with Dallas after they hurt you?
I'm done with Dallas.
So you got
Not bad.
Memphis. All right, who you
I
got?
got Memphis too.
I
Dallas
pick-
looks abominable.
I picked Dallas. I'm ready for them to be gritty. The Wizards at the Lakers.
Wiz.
The Lakers look really bad, but their highs are pretty high.
They give up the points.
I think they're going to lose every game until that game, and then they're going to win that game. Boston at Milwaukee. Revenge game?
I think Boston can win that game.
Okay.
It's like playing them a second time. I think they can win that game. I think Giannis.
Can we slow down Giannis?
If Giannis has an average game, they're going to lose games.
I'll say
you
Boston.
can't play like that every game.
Boston.
They might put Smart on Giannis
They had
at
no
some
answer
point.
for him.
Clippers
Nobody does.
at Portland.
Clippers at Portland.
Yep.
Clippers.
That's a pretty good game.
Yep.
I will do Portland.
I also picked Portland. OKC at Minnesota. Will Andrew Wiggins hit another buzzer beater?
I'm going with OKC on returning the favor.
I also picked OKC. You think they're going to hit a buzzer beater against them?
They may. I mean,
I'll
that
do
was
the
pretty-
same. Make it all three of us.
Okay.
That was nice how they got excited after making that and everything.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was good.
Tibbs had a very emphatic fist bump.
Tibbs did.
Wicked emphatic. Like whoa, a big fist bump. Like Tiger Woods
That
fist
was
bump.
like Bill
Aggressive.
Belichick yesterday when they blocked the field
He was
goal.
happy. He was happy.
Oh, man. you
Nothing
don't
gets
think
him
they'll
backed
ever
up
do
like that. All right, Washington at Golden State. We're running out of time.
Golden State.
Golden State.
I picked Washington.
Washington.
Wow.
At Golden State.
Cleveland
And they're
at
still going to win 70 games?
yeah, Cleveland at the Pelicans.
Cavs. I think the Cavs are a strong team.
Cleveland, yeah.
Me too. Boston at Miami.
Boston.
Miami always gives them trouble in Miami. I'm going Miami.
I think you're right, but I like Boston to get the win. I know what you mean by giving us trouble. Philly at Dallas.
That's a tough one. That's where I'm going to take Dallas. I don't think Philly on the road. right now.
Staying by your team, even though you said
Well,
you're not.
that was
Dallas.
1-5 at that point.
I already gave Philly
And
one
that'd be a
win.
good question. Who's going
Dallas.
to be the last team that goes that wins their first game?
I don't know. Denver at Brooklyn.
Brooklyn's playing good. That's a tough win. I know it, but I'm going with Brooklyn.
Denver on that one.
Yeah. Something that's so funny that I noticed all the time last year is D'Angelo Russell always lit it up when he played in Brooklyn. And when I saw the trade, I was like, oh, this is the perfect place for him to go. He loves playing in Brooklyn. Last game, Orlando at Charlotte.
Ugh.
I don't like Charlotte. I'm going with Orlando.
Charlotte has a lot of injuries.
Orlando.
Charlotte has a lot of injuries.
I'll
Malik
go
Monk hasn't played good.
Orlando as well.
Malik Monk hasn't got off to a good start.
No, he has not. He's been a little sloppy.
There's a few really good games and a few really bad games.
Yes, there's the full excitement is all the way up. Got any final comments? Any single players? You see Dylan Brooks.
How about one nickname?
One nickname.
The
Okay.
Human Eraser.
The Human Eraser. Ben Wallace. I don't know.
Marvin Webster.
I don't know who that is. Who is Marvin Webster?
He's one of the best shot markers in the history of the NBA.
If I don't know him, I don't know if I believe it. If I don't know who
Look
it
it
is, yeah, I'll have to check
The
it out.
Human Eraser.
All right, we'll see. All right, thanks for joining us on My Wheelhouse. Till next week, NBA season underway.